There is a moment coming today when someone's words are going to sound absolutely perfect, poetic even. The kind of message or conversation that makes your chest lift a little because it seems to promise exactly what you have been quietly hoping for. And Aquarius, you are going to want to believe it. You are going to want to let the beauty of it carry you somewhere. But something in you already knows the difference between inspiration and confirmation, between a dream that is shared and a plan that is real. The sky today is doing something unusual with you. It is opening a door and blurring the map at the same time. And how you walk through the next 24 hours depends almost entirely on whether you can recognize which is which. Because there is a specific detail your chart is quietly asking you to check before you say yes to anything meaningful today. And most people, caught up in the atmosphere, will miss it completely. The bigger picture. From the Western tropical lens, today's cosmic weather revolves around Venus in your ninth house of adventure, learning, and long-distance vision. She is doing two things at once, and this is where the day gets interesting. Early on, Venus trines Pluto in your own sign of Aquarius. That is a rare, quiet kind of magnetism. It is the aspect that makes you more compelling the less you try. Something you learn, read, hear, or discuss may genuinely shift the way you see yourself. And that shift changes how you move through every room you enter today. Then later, Venus swings into opposition with Neptune in your third house of communication. And this is where the atmosphere thickens. Details blur. Messages become poetic but imprecise. Travel plans lose their edges. Someone's beautiful words may not quite match what they are actually offering. So the day is holding two truths in tension. On one side, a deep and expansive attraction to ideas, people, or experiences that stretch your worldview. On the other, a soft fog around the practical facts. Underneath all of this, Chiron continues its slow work in your fourth house of home, family, and roots. It is testing the unspoken rules of the place you come from. Right now, it is acting mostly alone. But by April and May of next year, the sun will join it, and whatever quiet experiment you are running with your people or your household today becomes the setup for something much bigger than. The Vedic tradition, using the sidereal Zodiac, would frame these house placements differently and would emphasize a longer arc of karmic timing rather than the immediate transit heat. But both perspectives are pointing at the same recognition. Something meaningful is being revealed today, and something else is being deliberately obscured. Your job is to tell them apart. That is the real work of this Tuesday, love. Here is where the Venus story gets personal. If you are single, someone may cross your path today whose worldview stretches yours. A traveler, a teacher, someone from a different background, a different city, a different way of thinking. The attraction may feel unusually convincing, almost destined. And here is the honest part. That feeling itself is real. The magnetism is real. But the story you are building around that person in the first hours of meeting them may be running ahead of the actual evidence. You may have noticed this pattern before. That moment when a shared dream feels so vivid, so aligned that you skip past the small logistical questions. Who is actually flying where? Who is actually free next weekend? Who is actually available in the way they are implying? Today's chart is quietly asking you to slow down on exactly those questions. For those in relationships, the same dynamic shows up differently. A conversation with your partner about the future, a trip, a shared vision, a bigger dream, could feel unusually inspiring today. Let it inspire you. But when the poetry settles, ask the practical questions gently. Not to puncture the mood, to honor it by grounding it. There is also a possibility that someone from a distance reaches out. A message, a call, an old thread reopened. If you are single, and there is an ex still lingering in the background, the day's energy strongly suggests finishing that internal chapter before opening a new one. You cannot build something honest on top of something unresolved. And here is the deeper reframe hidden inside all of this. What may look today like romantic confusion is actually your chart teaching you the difference between chemistry and clarity. Both are valuable. But only one of them can be trusted to plan a future. Career. That same tension follows you into work. An idea, a piece of learning, a conversation with someone more experienced, or a project that involves travel or a broader vision may light you up in the first half of the day. This is the trine at work. You are absorbing something that makes you feel more alive and more aligned with what you actually want to build. But by afternoon, communication gets slippery. Details in emails, contracts, briefs, or meetings can blur. Someone may promise something in inspiring language without pinning down the specifics. You may do the same without realizing it. If you can, schedule the most important conversations, decisions, or sends before 4 in the afternoon. That earlier window has a clarity that fades later. And if you find yourself in a difficult exchange at work, remember that today the moon is moving through Gemini, which for you touches communication and quick thinking. Use humor. Use wit. Use precise, calm language. Anger will land badly today. Diplomacy will land beautifully. The quiet magnetism from the morning is still with you even when you are tired. In fact, especially when you are tired. The less you strive, the more intriguing you become. That is a strange gift, and it works best when you stop performing and simply do the work with a settled presence. Money. Which brings us naturally to resources. The chart is not enthusiastic about bold financial moves today. Stock market speculation, impulsive purchases, or big commitments made under the influence of an inspiring pitch are exactly the kind of decisions Neptune's fog can distort. The safer play is frugal, thoughtful, and slightly boring. Keep the credit card in its sleeve. Push the big decision to Wednesday or later in the week. If someone is asking you to commit money to a shared vision, a trip, a course, or a distant opportunity, you can absolutely say yes eventually. Just not today, not without the plan written down, and not without the exact numbers in front of you. There is a lovely thread here between money and love. The same skill that protects you from a beautiful but vague romantic promise also protects your bank account from a beautiful but vague financial one. Learn the skill once, and it serves both. Health. And this is where today's most important insight lies. You have been pushing. You may not have fully admitted it to yourself, but somewhere in the last few weeks you have been running on a kind of momentum that requires more from you than it returns. Today the chart is not asking you to push harder. It is asking you to let things rest and digest. That is the real shift. If you can take a sick day, take one. If you can work remotely, do that. If you must go in, build in the small restorative moments. A slow lunch, a walk without your phone, an iced drink in the sun. Something that says to your nervous system, we are not in emergency mode today. Sleep matters more than usual tonight. So does limiting caffeine, especially in the afternoon, because Neptune's fog plus overstimulation is the perfect recipe for a scattered evening. And here is the reframe worth screenshotting. What feels today like low energy or a slow start is not a failure of your productivity. It is the exact condition your chart needs you to inhabit to receive the day's real gift. The magnetism, the insight, the clarity about who and what is genuinely worth your yes, all of it arrives more clearly through rest than through effort. Yellow is a supportive color for your energy today. Wear it, keep it near you, or use it in small ways. It is a universally safe, gentle nudge toward the mental clarity you will want. Home and family. Underneath the day's brighter aspects, the quiet Chiron work in your fourth house keeps humming. You may find yourself pushing gently against a family rule, household expectation, or an unspoken code you grew up inside. Sometimes it is a small thing. A boundary you set with a parent, a decision about your living space that breaks with tradition, a conversation with a sibling where you say the thing you have never said out loud. Part of you wants to see if you can get away with it. Part of you needs to see what you can actually pull off. Both are valid. Just remember, what you experiment with now is the rehearsal for a much larger moment next April and May, when the sun joins Chiron in that same house and the theme becomes impossible to ignore. Today's small acts of honesty are laying the groundwork for that future conversation. Friendships may need a light touch too. If a friend reaches out with a big dream or a spontaneous plan, listen with warmth and ask the practical questions later. You can be encouraging and grounded at the same time. Travel and spirit. Travel is a strong theme in today's sky, and it needs its own careful handling. Long-distance plans, international conversations, or bookings made today should be double-checked. Confirm times. Confirm addresses. Reread the itinerary. Neptune opposing Venus in your travel houses is famous for missed flights, lured bookings, and beautifully worded promises that quietly fall apart in translation. If you are dreaming of a future trip, the energy actually favors imagining somewhere restorative, a quieter destination, a place where you can hear yourself think. If the Grenadines or somewhere similarly slow and elemental has been calling you, that is worth noting for later planning, not today's impulsive booking. Spiritually, today rewards curiosity that does not demand immediate answers. Read something outside your usual lane. Have a conversation with someone whose worldview stretches yours. Sit with a question rather than solving it. The insight you are looking for arrives more easily when you stop chasing it. Lucky signs. Yellow is your supportive color today, gentle and mentally clarifying. Your strongest hours run from mid-morning through early afternoon, ideally wrapping the important tasks before 4. The energies most aligned with yours today lean toward other air signs and toward grounded earth signs who can meet your ideas with practical follow-through. A quiet space, a good book, and a slow drink are more powerful allies than a crowded evening out. Keep your circle small and your conversations meaningful. Today's guidance. So here is where we land. Today is not a day for pushing, promising, buying, or booking based on beautiful feelings alone. It is a day for noticing the difference between what genuinely lights you up and what merely sounds like it should. The magnetism you carry today is quiet. It does not need to be performed. It does not need to be broadcast. It emerges precisely in the moments you slow down, rest, ask honest questions, and let inspiration meet reality gently rather than crashing into it. Somewhere in the day, you will be handed something that sounds like a dream. Let it inspire you. Then ask the small, unglamorous questions. Who is booking what? When exactly? What does this actually require? Confusion, as the chart quietly reminds us, does not need a passport. That earlier feeling that something meaningful was being revealed today and something else was being deliberately obscured, that is the whole reading in one line. Your work is simply to tell them apart. And the tool for telling them apart is not more effort. It is more stillness. Rest into the day. Trust the quiet magnetism. Confirm the details. And let the real yes, when it comes, arrive with both poetry and a plan. That is the day. That is the gift. That is the invitation the sky is offering you this Tuesday.